So welcome everybody to the fourth and final racer information session, or as I put on the screen here, registration information session, but we're well past that. So we're talking about race week and race day today. Here, sorry, get my was working here. So tonight we'll do a quick little housekeeping about tonight's format. Missy will bring us up to speed on bib assignments that I'm sure you all saw went out this last week. And then we'll talk about the bib pickups next week, the mandatory bike drop and expo on Saturday before the race. We'll talk about race day and then the race celebration and awards ceremony. And we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end as well. Before we get started with the housekeeping and onto the session, if you haven't joined us, you might not know this yet, but hopefully you did when you signed up. But these sessions are generously supported by Mary Cox and her team at Remax. And Mary, we really appreciate your sponsorship and support of the Gold Nugget and helping to make these sessions possible. And if you want to say a few words, you're a fellow racer with the ladies on the line today, and you know you have good words of wisdom.
Well, yes, hopefully words of wisdom, but I love I love all the parts of this race. And you know, for me, the race is about the swimming and the biking, the running, but it's also for me about the bib pickup and about the bike setup and about the transitions, and it's about after the race and all the camaraderie that I experience with my friends and fellow racers. So this is just such a great event, and Missy and Kristen are awesome and they do such a great job. So thank you. It's been my pleasure to be able to help sponsor these and be able to say a few words. So back to you.
Well, how's your training going? Are you feeling ready?
I feel really good, actually. Good. Yeah, I've been swimming quite a bit, and you know, yeah, feel really great.
Good to hear it. Well, thanks, Mary. And again, we appreciate everything, and we look forward to seeing you at the bib pickups and bike drop and race day. All right, well, just a quick little bit of housekeeping. Everybody's in listen mode only, and there you can use that chat button in your controls to ask questions. We will answer them either as we go if they're pertinent to something that we're talking about, or we'll be sure to try to get to those at the end as well. We're also recording this session, and it'll be posted this evening or tomorrow morning on the GNT website. Right on the homepage, there's a box in our home announcements, and one of them is dedicated to these racer information sessions, and the past ones are posted there as well. And I want to just say, and Mary, thanks to your kudos to me and Missy, but we should also do a big shout out to our volunteer race committee and the board of directors who really make this happen. The volunteer race committee is like 18 people, highly dedicated people who each take a lead on a certain part of the race. And you might not know who they are by name or by face, but they are in the background making a lot of really great things happen. All right, I should have grabbed a hat that said begging on it. So we are, you know, just about a week and a half out from the race, and this is crunch time, and we still are in need of a lot of volunteers. This race takes over 350 volunteers to put on, in addition to our booster groups and other support groups that we have. The format this year with earlier, you know, everyone being in the pool by 12:30, 1 o'clock, in a shorter race day, puts us in a little bit of a limitation in racers being able to race and volunteer. And historically, we've had like 50% of our volunteers have been racers, but that's a little bit different this year. So we're really putting out the plea to friends and family and coworkers. And if you could do the same, we'd appreciate it. Share it on your social media, invite them to come out. It's a great way to give back to the community and help support the race. All volunteers get a cool volunteer hat with this year's logo on it, and then a chance to win a free entry into next year's race. We'll randomly select 10 winners from everybody who completes their volunteer shift. And what's really cool about it is they're transferable. So if a member of your family or friend wins and they don't want to do it next year, you can ask them to transfer it to you. So you can go to goldnuggettriathlon.com//volunteers and sign up. All right, well, with that, I'll turn it over to you, Missy.
All right. So I'm just going to very briefly, and good evening, everybody. Sorry about that. I just want to briefly go over bib assignments. Everybody has the bib assignments have been posted for about the last week now, I believe, and everybody has probably already gone on and seen theirs. I think that there's still a lot of questions as to how those bib assignments worked and what your number really means, and so we're going to explain that to you tonight, and I think at the end you'll be a little bit more educated on it and understand how it worked. For starters, and probably the two easiest ones for everybody to understand, is the top seeded racers from the past years will go, and there's 64 of them. They will each start on the shallow and the deep end, and then they'll, as soon as the first group of 32 go, then the remaining will go, and then it goes straight into those who purchase lane bids. However, those who purchase lane bids, all of them will be racing on the shallow end. And we've got a little bit, we actually have a slide on that we'll go over with you in detail here after this one. Then we took the mother, daughters, and the tri-gens that requested to go together. If they had the same swim time, we certainly had no problem putting them together. If they did not, but they wanted to be on the same team, we then assigned their team the slowest out of their group's estimated swim time, and that's how we then assigned bibs to them. We also then had a heavy emphasis on, if you remember, during the registration process, you were asked the question if you wanted to swim on the shallow end, the deep end, or you had no preference at all. And it was pretty well weighted across the board. And so then, we put a lot of precedence on being able to accommodate everybody's requests along that area, and I think we actually did a really good job of it in the end. So I think everybody probably got the actual request that they made, and then not after all of that, but at the same time, and again we're going to go through that with another slide. Then all the swims were estimated. Were then assigned by the estimated times during the registration process. But there's a little more to that. We also, in that process, had waves or block times. So you can go ahead and go to the next one. Yeah. Thanks, Kristen. So this one actually isn't on the website, I don't believe yet, but I think Kristen will be loading it tonight. Is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, there's one similar to this, but what we didn't add to it, because for some reason we didn't feel the need at the time, was we didn't include the block times, or waves as we're also sort of calling them. And now we're realizing that in further educating individuals how they're going to go, that those block times are important. So, and the pool end that you have. So you'll see your bib number. Let's say you were 281. You know that wave, you're going to, through 370, are going to swim in the deep end. And all those people in that wave have been assigned a bib according to fastest time to slowest time. And every single one of these blocks or waves are treated exactly the same way. All of them are fastest to slowest. So we didn't take the whole pool of 1,200 people and just go right down the line, fastest to slowest. We actually put you into blocks of waves so that there's fastest to slow in each one. So it's made it a little bit more fair for everybody, that you don't have all the slowest ones, the ones that just really are uncomfortable with the pool. You don't have all of them going at the very, very end. There's a mixture in every single block or wave that we've assigned.
Missy, can I add one thing to that?
Yep.
Just so Missy used the example.
Please.
Can you see my cursor when I'm doing this? Can you see my cursor?
I can.
Okay. Hopefully everybody else can. I'm just not sure with the way I'm sharing my screen. But so you use the example of bib 281, which is in block 3. But the block 3 actually starts with bib 191 and goes to bib 460. So that whole group is a block from fastest to slowest.
True.
So
yes.
Yeah. So like 191 is had the fastest estimated swim time of that group, and 460 had the slowest of that group. So but we didn't want to say, okay, this whole group be on deck at 8:45. We wanted to spread everybody out so you weren't waiting on deck for a long time, etc. So you can see this group's all in the deep end, and we're just staggering your arrival times.
And they're all block or wave 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So it's a little confusing when you look at this, or because we jump numbers here, but the reason that is because these folks are in the shallow end, and those are our lane bids.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to explain it, Kristen, and thank you. So the most important thing is your swim start times over on the far right corner. With the snake swim, we're sending swimmers off in 20-second intervals. And so because of that, it's very, very, very predictable as to when you're going to go. And that's why we feel pretty confident that those swim times are far more predictable than any other swim times that we can produce when you're doing circle swimming or even split lane swimming. So you'll really want to make sure that you pay attention to that swim start time. But if you look at the color coding, like Kristen explained there, all the peach colors, 191 clear through to 460, are going to be in one wave. Then the blue will be in the next wave on the shallow side. Then the deep end with the pink wave, and then at the very end the green. All those in green, they actually are not all of them were no preference. We had no preferences in the other categories as well. But at that point, those are folks that either said shallow or deep or no preference. And so they can really, once they get in, they can go to either side of the pool that they want to go to.
And as long as you line up in bib order, which the volunteers will be helping to make happen, everybody's in that fastest to slowest. So, and that's to minimize hopefully the need of passing. And there's going to be that need, it exists, it happens in circle swimming all of the time. But by going that fastest to slowest within a wave, it'll help to minimize congestion in the pool.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to note, that you really, really, really need to stay in bib order. I've gotten a couple emails from folks that have been separated from a friend and asked if they can just go at a later time. And when I look at their times, inevitably, they're quite a bit different in their estimated swim times. So that will not work, because we are trying to keep people in order by their estimated swim time as much as we absolutely possibly can. And as Kristen mentioned, there will be times when you might get passed still, or you decide that you want to pass, and that's perfectly all right to do that. And I'm not sure if I can't remember where it is in the slide, but just to sort of reiterate right now, if somebody taps you on the foot, if they're behind you and they tap you on the foot, when you get to the wall, you need to stop and pull over and let them go by. It's the safest thing to do, and it really won't take but a couple seconds for you to pull over and just let them shoot right by you, and then you can kick right back off as well. And for some of us, that gives us a little breather.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how it worked in circle swimming as well. It's really it's really no different than the passing protocol that we've used in all past years.
And if you feel that somebody's coming up, up on your left side, and they're and trying to pass you, well, first of all, if you're going to pass, we ask that you sight ahead to see if it's a safe thing to do. But if you see somebody coming up and they're going to pass on your left side, they've probably already sighted, and they probably realize that they have plenty of opportunity to get by before the other person's coming down the other side of the lane. But if it'll make you feel better, kind of scoot over towards that lane line. And that just gives everybody a little bit more room. But if you think about it, unless your arms are really flailing over to the right or to the left, there's typically enough room for folks for 3 people to pass in a lane. Katie's got a question about snorkels. Are they allowed for the swim? And actually, they are allowed. It's actually a USAT rule, and they do allow snorkels in the swim.
All right. We'll talk about race week.
Yeah. So bib pickup. We are 1 week today away from our first bib pickup. Tomorrow we have about 25 volunteers who are going to get together, and we are putting together the race packets. So we're excited about that. We're putting together the food packets, which was something new that happened last year that really, really turned out well. And all of that, well, the food packet will be given out at the finish line, but the race swags are going to be given out a week from today, starting at the first bib pickup. So the first bib pickup is at the Trek store, and that's located in Midtown in the Metro Center, 4:30 to 6:30 on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we move to downtown to Skinny Raven Sports, again from 4:30 to 6:30. And then on Saturday, during the mandatory bike drop-off and expo, there's also a bib pickup at that time, and that goes from 1 to 5. So you've actually got 3 times and quite a number of hours. We have a good 10 hours of bib pickup time that should be able to work for everybody. But you do have to pick up your own. You cannot pick up for anybody unless you're a parent or a guardian of somebody under the age of 18. Otherwise, you have to pick up your own and you have to show ID. Now, the virtual racers, packets will be shipped to the virtual racers, but only those that live outside of the Anchorage Bowl area. So that's beyond Eagle River and past Girdwood, and only if they selected the option that they wanted it shipped to them. So those will go to virtuals if they actually selected that they wanted it shipped to them. Otherwise, all virtuals need to come and pick up their packets as well at any of those 3 times. So, Kristen, that's yours.
Sure. Okay. What will be in your race packet? So when you come pick up your bib, you'll get an envelope, and which we'll talk about what's going to be in that, and then you'll get your bag of fun. So let's talk about they're both fun, but we'll talk about the bag of fun first. So you'll get it's a mesh backpack bag like we've had in the past years. It's white, sponsored by Matson Shipping, and that will be your bag for. You know what? I just realized we put this on here wrong. That'll be your T2 bag. And then, so that's the one that will go to your transition from your bike to your swim. And then also inside, you're going to have your finisher bag, the bag that you'll send to the finish line with your bike to your run for your T2 bag. Then you'll get your bag for the finish line, that if you want to put anything to go to the finish line, that will go in that bag. That's going to be a clear bag with that Skinny Raven has provided. You're going to get your official 2022 swim cap. It's super cute, supported by Geneva Woods Birth Center, and then your ankle strap for your timing chip. In your racer envelope, you will get the envelope will have instructions for all the different pieces that are in that envelope. You're going to get your bib that you're going to wear. You have to wear it on the run. You don't have to wear it on the bike, but you must wear it on the run. You can wear it on the bike. Most people elect to wear it on the bike. You'll get a bike bib number. So it's a sticker that affixes to your bike. There's instructions on that envelope as to how to affix it. You'll get a number for your helmet. And then you'll also get a number to stick on your bike rack, that bike rack. Everybody has to have a bike rack for their transition setup, and then a number to put on there. And that helps you and the volunteers to know where your slot is. And then you'll also get your racer tattoos. So those are those sport tats that you'll put on the night before or the morning of the race that have your number on them. You will also.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I just want to emphasize that bike rack number is extremely important. I know some people love to decorate their bike rack, and that's a great thing to do. But please make sure that is visible, because when we bring your bike back, those bike runners are grabbing your bike off of the FedEx truck in T1 and running it, and sometimes all the way across to the other end to put your bike back and then hurry back to grab another bike. So it's really nice for them when they can come around the corner and see exactly where that bike rack is in your number.
I was going to add the one other thing that you will receive at packet pickup is your chip. You will also be given your chip at packet pickup. So, yeah, right, Missy? Yeah.
Yep, your timing chip. Yep.
Your timing chip. Yep. And that's a unique chip to you that you want to make sure that you hold on. It's assigned to your number. that is your chip to use for the event, and those instructions on that race packet as to how to affix the chip to the ankle strap and wear that on your left ankle on race day.
If there are multiple people in your house racing and 3 people have the chips, make sure you keep track of which chip goes with which bib, because they're already assigned and they already match in the system.
All right. There was a question about the tattoos, and they go on your arm. And if you have a long sleeve top on, the primary purpose for the tattoos is in the swim. I mean, that's really right, Missy? Isn't that kind of a fair statement there? So if you are wearing a long sleeve shirt during the swim, I've seen where people might, I saw actually somebody at a recent race where they actually put them on their lower arm. We don't prefer that, but if you're wearing a long sleeve or a longer sleeve, that can work. If you need more clarification on that, we can talk about other options, but it's really primarily for the swim. So if you're not wearing a long sleeve during the swim, you should be just fine. Okay. We just lost Missy. Okay. She must have just gotten booted off. So hopefully she'll be back here in just a second. I'm going to keep going. Okay. Mandatory bike drop off on Saturday. So from 1 to 5 p.m. at Bartlett High School is the mandatory bike drop off. This is your only window to drop off your bikes and set up and drop off your bikes. You can go back into transition on Sunday, which we'll talk about, but all bikes must be dropped off on Saturday during this 1 o'clock to 5 p.m. Window. You will park at the VA Medical Center parking lot. So when you come down Muldoon, you'll actually go to the second stoplight, which is Zuckert. To the right at the VA is Zuckert, and then you'll pull in and park at the VA and then walk your bike over to Bartlett. Please do not park in the back parking lot at Bartlett or try to come in on Golden Bear Drive. We're not permitted for back there. That's for other activities. So park at the VA parking lot. Hold on here 1 second. I just, okay, she lost power. I don't know if that means computer or house, but we'll get the skinny when she's back on. So at that mandatory bike drop off, oh good, she's coming back. You will have access to transition. She's back.
Sorry. Okay. That was actually my fault. I was blaming it on Kathy. I thought she had a power circuit surge and I ran out of battery. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll let you pick up. All we've talked about is that this is your only window to drop your bike off, and then parking at the VA. So we haven't talked about gear drop and then setting up transition and then that second opportunity on Sunday.
Yeah. So your gear drop that you want to drop off to on Saturday is for either the finish line or T2. You can drop off. You can also drop off gear bags though in the morning, so you don't necessarily have to do it. But if you know exactly what you're gonna need when you get to tier T2 and you want to get rid of it on Saturday, you're more than welcome to do that. There's going to be 2 different FedEx trucks, and so you want to be able to make sure you place them in the correct one. Please only use the bags that are provided. It makes it really difficult for the folks trying to find, especially at T2. It's going to make it's difficult for them when you're coming up the hill just before you get off the bike. We have somebody that's radioing up to the top your bib number, and those folks are trying to go through all those gear bags to find your bib number to be able to give it to you as quickly as possible so you can switch out your shoes or put on a cooler shirt or warmer shirt or whatever it is that you want to do with your gear bag. So please make sure that you're using the gear bags that are provided. Make sure that you mark your number and your name on both bags, but make sure that number is eligible. legible.
Legible.
Legible, not eligible, but legible. And that really helps too, because the nicer size it is, it makes it easier for those volunteers to find that and make sure that we get you that bag quickly so that you're not spending any more of your precious time on your race in T2.
Hey,
Setting,
can I just
go for
interrupt
it.
real quick? So Kelly had a question about only using the bags that are provided, but some people bring a bucket to store items in. So yes, people bring a bucket to store their items at T1. So your transition spot where your bike is going to be housed at Bartlett. So your transition from the swim to the bike. These bags are what you're going to drop to go out to T2 and or out to the finish. So they're totally separate. When I do the Gold Nugget and other races, I love bringing that 5-gallon bucket, putting the stuff in it, and then using that in my transition area for T1 that you're going to be using. We're different than some triathlons where we have a remote T2. A lot of triathlons, you come back to the same transition to go from the bike to the run, but ours is remote. So that's why some people want to send a gear bag for anything that they might want for their run.
Lynn had a really good question too. She said, can we clip our helmet to the bike if we aren't doing a bag at T2? And you know what, Lynn, you don't have to do it because the volunteers do it for you. And yes, what they'll do is as you get to the top, they'll ask you to dismount and they will take your bike, they will take your helmet, and they will clip it to your bike and get it onto the FedEx truck and get it back to the T1 area at Bartlett. So yes, by all means, you do not have to have a gear bag in T2. If all you're going to do is just offload your bike and your helmet, give it to the volunteers and they'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. So set up in the transition area, bikes, it's really important. Bikes must be on a rack. Kickstands do not work. If you can imagine a sea of bikes as dominoes and one bike goes down because the kickstand just couldn't hold it, all those bikes go down. And it's really a scary thing to see when you know that there are some bikes in there that are several $1,000s. Plus, it doesn't even make any difference how much the bike is. If it causes you to have a flat or if it dents your derailleur, it could mean your bike is out and you couldn't finish the race. So please make sure you have a bike rack. They will be selling APU's Nordic Ski Team builds them, and they will be selling them as a fundraiser at all of the bib pickups. So you can buy them for $20 and it goes to a really, really good cause. You do have a lot to bring to transition during mandatory bike drop-offs. So you can bring one person with you into the transition transition area. So if you want your spouse or one of your kids to go in with you and help you bring all that stuff in, absolutely you can do that, but you can only bring in one. You are going to be given about it says 4 inches here, but I think we really mean
and I meant feet. Sorry.
You get 4 inches. No, you get 4 feet of space, which actually is about a foot more than we've always had in the past. So you have plenty of real estate there. I said that just for Mary Cox. You have plenty of real estate there to be able to put all your gear and your bike and get it organized the way that you want it. Now, the other thing too is some people will come in and they'll set up their bike and they'll, are you still there? Did I lose you? Okay, good.
We're here. Yep.
Sorry. They'll set up their bike but they won't necessarily put all their gear out because they want to keep their gear dry. You can keep all your gear in the bag, maybe put it into the bucket upside down so in case it rains it stays dry. Or you can bring the gear that you really want to make sure stays dry. The next morning, the transition area is open from 7 to 8:30 and anybody can come. Only yourself, any racer can come into the transition area and set up the specifics of your gear at that time if you would like to. But transition area does close at 8:30 and there's nobody else coming in except for active racers at that time. And then the truck bike store is always available. They have mechanics on site. Kristen, are they there on the morning of as well?
No, they're
Is
not.
it the
Well,
Tri
they might
Club?
have someone just kind of hanging out, but the Tri Club will be there. But
Okay.
and then there'll be bike pumps available
Yeah.
on race
There
morning
we go.
too. So
Perfect.
yep.
Perfect.
Hey,
And then the other thing is, as Kristen mentioned earlier, you're all going to park in the VA parking lot and bring your gear in. If you get on your bike and ride your bike from the VA into the main part of the parking lot at Bartlett, that's great. We don't mind that you do that as long as you're safe, but you must have a helmet on. If you do not have a helmet on and you're on your bike riding it, or you are even crossed and trying to cross you're onto your bike and just walking it with no helmet on, you will be penalized. So make sure that you have a helmet on. And if one of your kids or your spouse or your friend decides to bring your bike in and they don't have a helmet on, you will still get penalized. So the number on that bike is the one that gets penalized if they don't have a helmet on.
plus I'll probably yell at you, and then you don't like that, and I don't
Yeah.
like it either.
So
my cranky side comes out when people don't wear helmets.
Lisa asked a question about the bike stands and if they were available to mountain bike size. And yes, the team there does a super job of having all different sizes for different size, because even sometimes the road bikes have different size wheels. And we want to make sure that you get one that fits, because if your bike tire isn't snug in there, it'll fall over as well. So yes, they do, and I've seen them with drills, tearing them apart and putting them back together to get a good fit for you. So yes, absolutely.
A couple other questions here. This is a good one. I actually I imagine people do this, but I'm just not familiar with it. But sending an empty T2 bag, so still with your name and your number on it, bag to T2. So if you wanted to drop something, you don't your helmet you don't need to have a bag for, but if you're going to drop something else from your person between the bike to the run, you have to have a bag to put it in there. And so we'll just make sure the T2 team knows that if there is an empty bag, that could mean that a racer wants to put something in it, even though they don't want to take anything out of it. So that is definitely doable. But make sure
It's
your
a good
numbers
question,
on
though. I've never seen
Yeah,
anybody
I
do
haven't
it.
either.
It's not to
Yeah.
say that you can't. I mean, if it was a really hot day and you knew that you needed a sweatshirt for the bike and you didn't want that sweatshirt for the run, I think it's a great concept. I've never seen anybody do it, but absolutely, it's a great idea.
Yeah. There was also a question here about, do you drop off your helmet with your bike? Yes, because you can't get into transition after 8:30 on race morning. So almost everybody drops their helmets with their bike, and we can't bring gear onto the pool deck, and as we have in the past. So you'll want to leave your helmet with your bike. One less thing to worry about too.
But if you forget, you can bring it that morning.
Before 8:30.
Yep.
Before 8:30. And Susan, if you're just walking beside your bike, you do not have to have your helmet on. It's just if you're straddling your top tube and you're trying to, that's we consider that riding. But if you're walking alongside your bike coming in, you do not have to have your helmet on. Okay. There's I'm going to let us save this question till the end. There's lots of questions about phones and gear and that end of it. Let's save that for the Q&A at the end. Let's kind of we'll get through and then we'll address that one. I know that's been a popular
It's a big
question
one.
on a number of
Yeah.
fronts in the last couple of days. So we'll address that here in a bit. Okay. All right. I'll take this one. The vendor and sponsor expo. So we have so many of our generous sponsors and other supporters of the event are invited to come out and participate in a Racer Expo on Saturday during the mandatory bike drop-off. We're really trying to build this up. I think it's going to kind of take hold over the years and continue to grow, but we're super excited this year. We know at this point in time, there's still some things being solidified, but Kaladi Brothers Coffee will be there on Saturday with free coffee for racers and any of your family that comes on out. We're hoping to have an ice cream truck there as well. There'll be quite a few different retail options. Skinny Raven will have a retail pop-up. Turnigan Training is going to be there. Alpine Fit, who has some really cool gear, is going to be there, along with Alaska Cycle Chic, which is the new women's cycle shop off of Northern Lights. We'll also have some of our medical or health and fitness partners. The Natural Health Center will be there doing the K-taping, that kinesic, I don't know how you call it, but the taping that you do for muscles and things that might bother you on race day. Alaska Foot and Ankle is going to be there with some of their providers. The Alaska Club's going to be there. Providence Alaska Medical Center, a couple of our nonprofits, SWAM, the swim group, and then Let Every Woman Know. And then we've got other folks who are still solidifying if they're going to be there. So come on out, bring your wallets if you're looking to do some shopping, and be sure to stop by and see what these great supporters have to offer. All right, Missy, you want to talk about race day?
Okay, so race day, very simple timeline. It'll actually be in the online racer booklet as well. It will be on the website if it's not already as well, or you can take a quick snapshot of the screen right now. So 7 o'clock is when T1 opens up. We've mentioned that several times. Don't come any earlier than that. You can come earlier, but you're not going to be able to get into the actual T1 area until 7 o'clock. And again, that closes at 8:30. So you have an hour and a half. The pool opens at 7:30. So you can go in and start warming up in the pool. And we ask everybody to, except for those who are elite racers, who are the 1 through 32, we ask everybody except for those first 32 to be out of the pool at 8:45. Again, T1 closes at 8:30. Pool deck is now open to bibs starting at 8:45. Bibs number 1 through 64. Typically, the first 32 are already in the pool. We'll have the national anthem. We'll have an introduction of our honorary race starter, which is Beth Bragg this year. We're very, very excited that she chose to come and be our honorary starter. All the seated racers will be in position at 8:55 with a 9 a.m. prompt race start. And we believe that the last wave of racers on deck will be about 12:15.
I should note one thing on here too. If there's anyone on the line who's has a lane bid, those folks, the first wave of the lane bids is on deck at that 8:45 time as well. We've got them on deck a little bit earlier too. So I'll pull up that schedule again.
It'll be on that chart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And this schedule is up on the GNT website, as along with that swim schedule. We'll post the nicer one that shows the blocks when we're done with this this session. All right, so we already, in our past sessions, we covered the more details on the swim and the bike and the run, and now you're done. You've done it, you've been out there, you've laid it all out on the course, and now it's time to celebrate. So when you arrive at the finish line at Penna Park, it is your time to celebrate and really enjoy your moment. We are highly encouraging spectators to come over there and watch. There's great viewing opportunities for spectators to watch over there. We'll talk about that. There's no vehicle traffic allowed on Starview Drive to Penna Park, so everyone either needs to walk or ride their bike over or take one of the motor coach shuttles. If you dropped a finish bag, that cleared skinny ribbon bag, that'll be available to pick up. There'll be bathrooms, there'll have medical there. There'll be music and announcers. You'll pick up your well-earned finishers t-shirt. You'll get your to-go or to carry racer food pack, and there'll be sports drink and water. We'll have some games there. As I mentioned, the shuttles back to Bartlett, and then there's going to be lots of other fun activities too. We'll have that great red carpet photo booth sponsored by ConocoPhillips, where you'll get your digital photo. You can also get a 4x6 takeaway printed photo. Lots of fun. Come with your family and friends and take a finished photo. Kaladi Brothers Coffee will be there. Skinny Raven Sports is doing a really fun big finisher experience. We'll have Theraguns. We'll have some massage and other types of recovery activities. Alaska Foot and Ankle is going to be there. It sounds like they're going to have at least one massage therapist there. We might have one more sponsor with massage therapists there. We have a couple food trucks and then some other vendors who will be over at Pennant Park. So that's really the celebration and the where all of the hoopla will be once you have left Bartlett. I should probably note on that as well that once everything's done at Bartlett, or everybody's out on the race, that's not done at Bartlett, but everybody's out on the race course. So the last swimmer's out of the pool. Bartlett's really going to be pretty quiet, and that's just you're going to come back and get your bike. There won't be any activities at Bartlett. All of the finished activities are at Pennant Park. So the T1 area will be there with the volunteers still putting bikes back in the slot. The shuttles will run until the last half hour after the last racer is through at the finish line, or whatever's appropriate there, but approximately that, and then bring people back to Bartlett to pick up your bike and anything in your transition spot at Bartlett. Did I miss anything on Pennant Park, Missy?
No, it was great.
Okay. I do want to also note a couple things on the course if we can. So spectators really aren't allowed out on the course, or most of the course. So as we mentioned, Starview Drive with no car access. People can walk down Starview Drive and cheer you in, but we don't allow any spectators at T2. We really encourage people not to have spectators driving out on Arctic Valley Road or in that area. It's busy with bikes and race officials.
And golfers.
And golfers, yes. The tank trail, or the first part of the run, that is military. We are only permitted for racers and race personnel. So it's off limits to spectators, as well as the whole stretch on Gunnery Road, the out and back for part of the bike course. So we really encourage people to cheer you on in the pool at T1, and then head over to Pennant Park and get to cheer you on for your finish and help you celebrate.
So I think somebody sent me an email earlier today in regards to can spectators, are spectators allowed in the pool area? And I can't remember if we mentioned that earlier, so I do apologize. But yes, there's an upstairs balcony up above the pool, and spectators can hang out up there all they want. But they cannot be on the deck of the pool. There's bleachers on the deck of the pool as well, but they cannot be on the deck of the pool or in those bleachers. And then, of course, they can hang out at T1 so they can see you coming out, and then they can head to the finish line for your grand finale.
Okay, so you celebrated, you've gone home. Hopefully someone has a nice warm meal waiting for you, and whatever your beverage of choice is to continue to celebrate your day. But we really hope that you will find time on Monday, the day after the race, to come join the race celebration and awards ceremony at Baggage Middle School. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. We are not doing the typical potluck as we've done in the past. We made a decision with COVID measures and just general comfortability that we were going to just stick to a celebration and award ceremony. Hopefully someday, hopefully next year, the potluck will be back. But this year, there's still lots of fun stuff to come out and celebrate. ConocoPhillips is again sponsoring the official 2022 GNT race video, and they always do this. Tom, their videographer, does a great job getting it produced and ready to debut at that event. The race awards, I just realized we didn't put the categories, they're on the website, but all of the age group and other finisher awards will be given out. Other special recognition like the Spirit of GNT Award, our volunteer winners, other kind of fun recognition that might have come out from race day, and then really great giveaways. There'll be Trek Bicycle Store will be raffling off to racers a bike. That's always a big one. The Alaska Club will be giving out a 6-month gold family membership. Multi-Sport Training of Alaska, I didn't get this one on here, will be giving away a membership, a training membership as well. And then lots of really great raffle prizes for both volunteers and racers. So going to be a good time. We hope that you can come on out and join us for that. Okay. A little bit out of order, we did talk about shuttles. There'll be shuttles between Bartlett and Penna Park all day long for both racers and spectators. But people can also choose to walk or ride their bike. It's about a mile, not quite, between Bartlett and Penna. And we encourage, well, not encourage, but we ask everybody to please use the established walkways over the Muldoon overpass and over to Penna Park. It's really easy to get on over there. And again, there's no parking at Penna Park or anywhere in the vicinity. We really ask that spectators and racers on race day, you're going to park at Takatnu Commons, and the racers come on over to Bartlett, and the spectators can either come over to Bartlett, catch a shuttle, or they can go over to Penna Park right from there. And we've probably covered all of the spectator stuff. So, Miss, you want to talk about these?
Yeah, I think this is our last slide. Actually, we do have a Spirit of a GNT Awards that was established about. Of course, we've lost a couple years, but I think it was established about three or 4 years ago. Judy Sedgwick and Diane Barnett are race founders. There's a couple other ones as well, but the two of them started this award because they wanted to recognize some of the really nice things that people are doing for each other during this event. And so it's really kind of grown and it's gotten bigger. It even has its own page on the website now where we list past recipients. But if somebody's done some really outstanding thing for you, displayed some really great sportsmanship, we ask you to nominate them for the Spirit of GNT Awards. You can go online once you get home, or you can, during the event, you can actually, there'll be this barcode around the event. You can go ahead and click on that and submit it that way. It's a really short form, just asking you, what was your experience and what happened that really stood out in your mind. So we'd really appreciate it. We choose 2 winners, which will be randomly selected from the nominations, and the winners will be announced at the awards banquet. And they receive free entry into the next year's, in this case, 2023 race. So if you see some really awesome things going on out there, please share them. We'd love to hear about it. So
I forgot to note too that Keegan Randall's the MC for the award ceremony. So it'll be fun.
So we're kind of running out of time here. We promised that we would only be about 35, 40 minutes, and we have some questions to address that I think is on everybody's mind because I'm getting multiple emails about them. Can we talk just real quickly about gear and whatnot going inside the school? So there are actually 3 locker rooms. There are the 2 locker rooms in the pool area, one on the men's side and one on the women's side. You can go to either one of those and you can store stuff in the locker room. Those are open for all of us women on race day. So you can use both of those. So there's a lot of space. You can choose a locker and put your gear in there. We ask though that you be really careful, because it is an active area once the event starts. So there will be racers coming through, and some of them coming pretty fast to get out into T1. So we ask you to be really cognizant of that and move out of the way if you're going to be coming in to put your gear in. We also ask that you only go into those bleachers from the outside of the pool deck. All right. Don't go into, at the end of the event, when you get out of the pool, you're going to go through the inside of the pool deck. And that's important because that's where your chip is going to hit the timing mat. But we ask you not to do that during the if you have not started your race yet and you're just trying to go into the locker room to store some stuff. You'll want to be on the outside of the hallway and come in from that direction. There will be volunteers there and they will be saying active racer if somebody's coming out the door and holding you up and then having you go when that racer has come out. So be very cognizant of that because that's really important and it's a huge safety issue. There's also another locker room in the building next door. So it's downstairs below the gymnasium. And you can also store things there. It's a little bit harder to get outside of the T1 area and go all the way over to that gymnasium's locker room. But some people have been known to do it. I've known people who have gone over there and taken quick showers and changed their clothes and put on, warmer clothes before they go back to the T area and get on their bike. You can certainly do that. Just realize that your time doesn't stop, and that from the time you cross over that mat when you get out of the pool to the time you cross over the mat on your bike as you leave T1, all of that time is in that your T1 time. All right. The other question we're getting a lot of is that people want to hold on to their cell phones, but then they want to be able to have them. They certainly don't want to leave them there that night. A couple different things. If you're earlier in the day and you can drop them off between 7 and 8:30 into T1, you can drop your cell phone off and put it in your bike by your bike and have it ready for when you leave. If you are later in the day, you can certainly store it in the locker room with your gear and grab it as on your way out of the pool. But you are going to have to leave that either in T1 or in the locker room as well. I would highly, highly, highly recommend not having it on the pool deck. There's a lot of water, and that's just it's not a good area for water and phones to mix. The other question I've received a couple emails on is medical equipment, inhalers. Somebody just posted on here, I didn't see the name, I apologize, that you've got, a medical device that you really need to have close by because it's going to read some of your medical issues as you're on the course. So there's a set of bleachers at each end. It's the whole wall, but there is a set of bleachers on each end of the shallow and deep end. When you swim, you're going to get into the water on the east wall. So when you come in on deck, it's the wall furthest away. That's the end of the pool that you get in. You do your little snake swim, and then you get out on the other end, which is the west end. Is that right? Do I have that right? West end? I think
I call it the far and close end. I don't know which.
Okay, so the far and the close end. The close end is the one that's closest to going into the locker room. Yeah. On that bleacher, on that end of where you're going to be swimming, you can lay those medical devices there if need be. I know that there's a couple people that are concerned with their inhaler that they might need it while they're swimming, and they used to leave it with their lap counter, but we have no counters during the snake swim. So, and you're literally going from one lane to the other. So if you do have an issue, you might be, your inhaler might be down on lane 2 and you don't have the issue until lane 7 or 8. But we have medical people there, and if your inhaler's there and you need to pull up and stop, somebody can run and grab that for you and bring it to you if that's necessary. But hopefully in that short 400 yards you're gonna be all right. But if you do want to put it right there on the end of the bleacher so that you have it safely to be able to grab, that's all right too. Did I answer all of those questions?
I think so. We had a question regarding the bike portion of the course, and specifically Gunnery Road. Yeah. So no, Gunnery Road is not nearly as hilly as that stretch from the overpass to Arctic Valley. It's kind of a false flat. Yeah, I swear it's a false flat both directions, but it's a nice straight road, and you'll find it really enjoyable. On the note of, I just want to quickly share 2 opportunities for race prep that will be going on this next week. So Sunday, May 8th, Mother's Day. Happy early Mother's Day to all the moms out there. The Alaska Triathlon Club is doing a bike course preview at 11 o'clock on Sunday from Bartlett High School. So you'll meet there at 11. It'll be approximately 13 miles round trip. Helmets are required, and they'll just do a nice preview of the course and talk about things to expect on race day. You won't go down Gunnery Road. That's closed to, that's not open to the public. There's information on their Facebook page about that, and then also in the last e-blast that went out. We'll repeat it in the e-blast that will go out this week too. And then Heather Heltzer at Turn Again Training is doing a free transition clinic on Wednesday next week, so a week from tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. So you can grab your bib if you're going to, and then head over to South Anchorage High School. And she's doing a free clinic for all abilities you'll park near the tennis courts at South High School. Bring your bike stand, your helmet, the shoes that you're going to wear. If you're going to wear different bike shoes and running shoes, anything else that you're going to use on race day to do that transition from the bike to from the swim to the bike and then the bike to the run, and she'll run through that with you. She has information on her Facebook page regarding this as well, and I do believe she also posted it to the Spirit of GNT page. It looks like we have a few new messages. Let's just oh, those are all from you, Missy.
Yeah, I think I got them.
Okay. All right. Well,
great questions though.
Yeah, this was
these super.
Yeah. These help us because these end up becoming sometimes things that we put into racer newsletters or we update on the website or share with the race committee so they can kind of know what some of the concerns are relative to each of their areas. But we will look. Okay.
Sometimes I think that we almost send out too much information to people because I find that we get a lot of questions on things that are in the newsletters. And I wonder if people are just so busy and inundated with our newsletters that they just don't have the time to read them. But those newsletters are archived on the website. So sometimes, when you're looking for an answer, you might go back and just quickly peruse a couple of those e-news. They're usually categorized by some sort of activity. So that makes it a little bit easier. And then also too, the search bar on the website is awesome if you're looking for something specific. If you need to know bib assignments, you can type that in there and it'll take you over to any articles that are on the website that are about bib assignments. So please use those. We put them there for you, so use them so that you can find the information you want. And if at that point you can't find it, info@goldnuggettriathlon.com is always a safe place to go as well.
And at this stage in the game too, it's put a question into the Spirit of GNT Facebook page. Leah Keller from the board monitors those questions and does a great job keeping up on those. And then fellow racers are really good at helping to share tips and tricks too. All right. We're, as Missy said, we went a little bit long. I thank you to everybody who stayed on. It looks like almost everybody did. Mary, once again, thanks to you and your team and for all that you do for our event. We will look forward to seeing you and also all of the other women on the call today, either next Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday, and then again on race day. And hope everybody has fun, be safe out there, and enjoy this last week of training.
Thanks, everybody.